The hour of departure has arrived, and we go our ways, I to die, and you to live. Which is better God only knows. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. The unexamined life is not worth living. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. There is only one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. Our souls also existed apart from the body before they took on human form, and they had intelligence. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. To find yourself, think for yourself. An honest man is always a child. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. By all means, marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when you are in, continue firm and constant. Sometimes you put walls up not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to break them down. No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. Let him who would move the world first move himself. Contentment is natural wealth. Luxury is artificial poverty. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings, so that you shall come easily by what others have labored hard for. The hour of departure has arrived, and we go our separate ways, I to die and you to live. Which of these two is better only God knows. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. Do not do to others what angers you if done to you by others. I am not an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world. Every action has its pleasures and its price. I examined the poets, and I look on them as people whose talent overawes both themselves and others, people who present themselves as wise men and are taken as such, when they are nothing of the sort. Prefer knowledge to wealth, for the one is transitory, the other perpetual. We cannot live better than in seeking to become better. Understanding a question is half an answer. Life contains but two tragedies. One is not to get your heart's desire, the other is to get it. The hottest love has the coldest end. Envy is the ulcer of the soul. Be as you wish to seem. Thou shouldst eat to live, not live to eat. I know that I am intelligent, because I know that I know nothing. The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. To fear death, gentlemen, is no other than to think oneself wise when one is not, to think one knows what one does not know. No one knows whether death may not be the greatest of all blessings for a man, yet men fear it as if they knew that it is the greatest of evils. Be nicer than necessary to everyone you meet. Everyone is fighting some kind of battle. From the deepest desires often come the deadliest hate. Once made equal to man, woman becomes his superior. My friend, care for your psyche, know thyself, for once we know ourselves, we may learn how to care for ourselves. If you want to be a good saddler, saddle the worst horse, for if you can tame one, you can tame all. The beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. I pray thee, O God, that I may be beautiful within. One should never do wrong in return, nor mistreat any man, no matter how one has been mistreated by him. If a man comes to the door of poetry untouched by the madness of the muses, believing that technique alone will make him a good poet, he and his sane compositions never reach perfection, but are utterly eclipsed by the performances of the inspired madman. The really important thing is not to live, but to live well, and to live well meant, along with more enjoyable things in life, to live according to your principles. The easiest and noblest way is not to be crushing others, but to be improving yourselves. He is richest who is content with the least, for content is the wealth of nature. Those who are hardest to love need it the most. In all of us, even in good men, there is a lawless wild beast nature which peers out in sleep. If all our misfortunes were laid in one common heap whence everyone must take an equal portion, most people would be content to take their own and depart. I only know that I know nothing. The greatest blessing granted to mankind come by way of madness, which is a divine gift. Is it true? Is it kind, or is it necessary? All I know is that I do not know anything. Children nowadays are tyrants. They contradict their parents, gobble their food, and tyrannize their teachers. Be of good cheer about death, and know this of a truth, that no evil can happen to a good man, either in life or after death. Think not those faithful who praise all thy words and actions, but those who kindly reprove thy faults. My advice to you is get married. If you find a good wife, you'll be happy. If not, you'll become a philosopher. All men's souls are immortal, but the souls of the righteous are immortal and divine. The highest realms of thought are impossible to reach without first attaining an understanding of compassion. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. To move the world, we must move ourselves. To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. I decided that it was not wisdom that enabled poets to write their poetry, but a kind of instinct or inspiration, such as you find in seers and prophets who deliver all their sublime messages without knowing in the least what they mean. I know you won't believe me, but the highest form of human excellence is to question oneself and others. Virtue does not come from wealth, but wealth, and every other good thing which men have comes from virtue. He who is unable to live in society, or who has no need because he is sufficient for himself, must be either a beast or a god. The misuse of language induces evil in the soul. Through your rags I see your vanity. Not life, but good life, is to be chiefly valued. The only thing I know is that I know nothing, and I am no quite sure that I know that. It is better to change an opinion than to persist in a wrong one. Intelligent individuals learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences. The stupid already have all the answers. When you want wisdom and insight as badly as you want to breathe, it is then you shall have it. Living well and beautifully and justly are all one thing. One who is injured ought not to return the injury, for on no account can it be right to do an injustice, and it is not right to return an injury or to do evil to any man, however much we have suffered from him. Are you not ashamed of caring so much for the making of money and for fame and prestige, when you neither think nor care about wisdom and truth and the improvement of your soul? Give me beauty in the inward soul. May the outward and the inward man be at one. My plainness of speech makes them hate me, and what is their hatred but a proof that I am speaking the truth? There is no greater evil one can suffer than to hate reasonable discourse. Well, although I do not suppose that either of us know anything really beautiful and good, I am better off than he is, for he knows nothing and thinks that he knows. I neither know nor think that I know. To express oneself badly is not only faulty as far as the language goes, but does some harm to the soul. One day, the old wise Socrates walks down the streets, when all of a sudden a man runs up to him. "Socrates, I have to tell you something about your friend who—" "Hold up," Socrates interrupts him. "About the story you're about to tell me. Did you put it through the 3 sieves?" "3 sieves?" the man asks. "What 3 sieves?" "The first sieve is the one of truth. Did you examine what you were about to tell me if it is true?" "Well, no, I just overheard it," the man says. "Ah, well, then you have used the second sieve, the sieve of good," Socrates asks. "Is it something good what you're about to tell me?" He is not only idle who does nothing, but he is idle who might be better employed. It is a disgrace to grow old through sheer carelessness before seeing what manner of man you may become by developing your bodily strength and beauty to their highest limit. One thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing. The more I know, the more I realize I know nothing. May the inward and outward man be as one. Wealth does not bring about excellence, but excellence makes wealth and everything else good for men, both individually and collectively. True knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. As to marriage or celibacy, let a man take which course he will be sure to repent. A system of morality which is based on relative emotional values is a mere illusion, a thoroughly vulgar conception which has nothing sound in it and nothing true. Now the hour to part has come. I go to die, you go to live. Which of us goes to the better lot is known to no one except the God. Smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences, stupid people already have all the answers. Such as thy words are, such will thine affections be esteemed, and such as thine affections will be thy deeds, and such as thy deeds will be thy life. The unexamined life is not worth living. An unconsidered life is not one worth living. Remember that there is nothing stable in human affairs. Therefore avoid undue elation in prosperity or undue depression in adversity. And so they grow richer and richer, and the more they think of making a fortune, the less they think of virtue. For when riches and virtue are placed together in the scales of the balance, the one always rises as the other falls. The true champion of justice, if he intends to survive even for a short time, must necessarily confine himself to private life and leave politics alone. I soon realized that poets do not compose their poems with knowledge, but by some inborn talent and by inspiration, like seers and prophets who also say many fine things without any understanding of what they say. I do believe that there are gods, and in a far higher sense than that in which any of my accusers believe in them. No one knows whether death may not be the greatest of all blessings for a man, yet men fear it as if they knew it was the greatest of evils. Remember, no human condition is ever permanent. Then you will not be overjoyed in good fortune, nor too sorrowful in misfortune. Mankind is made of two kinds of people: wise people who know they're fools, and fools who think they are wise. It is not difficult to avoid death, gentlemen of the jury. It is much more difficult to avoid wickedness, for it runs faster than death. God would seem to indicate to us and not allow us to doubt that these beautiful poems are not human, or the work of man, but divine and the work of God, and that the poets are only the interpreters of the gods. A man who really fights for justice must lead a private, not a public life if he is to survive for even a short time. I know nothing except the fact of my ignorance. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. How many things can I do without? Wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Nobody is qualified to become a statesman who is entirely ignorant of the problem of wheat. Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings, so that you shall gain easily what others have labored hard for. One thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing. By far the greatest and most admirable form of wisdom is that needed to plan and beautify cities and human communities. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. We hope you enjoyed this video and found it both entertaining and informative. If you did, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. We appreciate your support and look forward to bringing you even more exciting videos in the future. Until next time, take care and stay curious.